that's good stuff. I'd like to go to employers and say, hey, have you looked at this? Have you considered this? But I doubt that's going to happen. But again, that shows how what God, the priority that God places, how important it is in that first part of marriage that you give undivided attention to that wife. And guys, I find that being close costs you, we want to think we're going to have to dig deep into our budget in order to be close to our wives. But the fact is it costs you absolutely nothing except your time and your love. Again, now we're going to take it from the theological to the practical. Your wife feels close to you when you do something as simple as reach over and grab her hand. Or reach over and just hold her hand. Sorry, grab is a bad word. But you just hold her hand. Your wife feels close to you when you hug her. I'm going to go here, but here we go. Your wife feels close to you when you are affectionate without necessarily sexual intentions. Okay? Your wife feels close to you when you just want to be with her and you want to be affectionate to her, but you're not necessarily coming with any selfish motive here. Your wife feels close to you when you are alone with her so that you can focus on her. Now, I haven't said anything about this so far, but I believe one of the most, what's the right adjective I could use? One of the most horrendous threats to the family today is social media. Facebook, Twitter. I'm not educated enough to list all the others. What is it? Pinterest, Snapchat. Sarah, help me. What's the other one?
You got most of them.
Okay. If you want to be close to your wife and to your children, you're going to have to disconnect. Now, I'm not saying that those things don't have a place. I'm not saying that those things cannot be used for good at certain times. But I have couples come in and I look at them sitting there and that's what they're doing. And I'm thinking, how can any closeness develop? Put down that infernal thing, and I'm talking to myself here, and be involved in one another's lives. Again, I cannot say it, husbands, wives, strongly enough. There comes a time when you need to put down the artificial and look for what's real. And so that is, it's one of those things where you can allow yourself a certain period of time that you agree on in your marriage, but you have to disconnect and devote time to your husband, to your wife. So again, you're alone with her so you can focus on her. When you go for a walk or a jog, anything that results in your being together or in togetherness. Today, my wife and I took a walk, and she said, you know what, this is all I need for you. I really don't care if you ever take me on a cruise or some big expensive thing. I just want this. And I do want to do those things for her sometimes. But again, a walk doesn't cost anything. Your wife feels close to you when you seek her out. You set up a date. You eat by candlelight. Something like that. Again, these are just suggestions, guys. Let your imagination go. Your wife feels close to you when you go out of your way to do something just for her. Like notice an errand that needs to be run and take care of it just to do something for her. And wait for her to notice it, because she will. Don't come and blow a horn and parade what you've done. Just wait for her to notice it. How about when you are aware of her as a person with her own mind and her own opinions, and letting her know that you enjoy discussing things with her and getting her insights? How about when you initiate the unexpected? Like, hey, let's go outside and watch the moon, or let's take a walk, or let's take a drive and park somewhere. It's anything. When you initiate the unexpected. And then, here's another one, but when you take time after intimacy to just enjoy being with her. Don't walk away or immediately turn on the television or Sports Center or CNN or whatever. Take time just to be with them. So that's closeness. Your wife feels close to you when you do those things. Let's talk about openness. Next one, COUPLE. O is for openness. Your wife wants you to open up to her, to voluntarily talk with her. Now, guys, please understand, and ladies as well, I'm not saying these things because I am good at them. If I'm honest, I blow it far more in these areas than I get it right. I could think of just today. But so often. Also, please, I cannot, first source to turn to about marriage is the book about it. The book that God gave us, the principles He gave us, to His Word. But I also cannot I can't underestimate how important helpful resources are. And again, the place that I'm getting so much of this information from, that I share and use in counseling, is from Love and Respect. And that's one among many resources, but I find it's an extremely powerful one. It's based on biblical principle. But opening up to your wife. Let's go to Song of Solomon chapter 2. Song of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 10. Right there it says, "My beloved spoke and said to me, 'Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away.'" Again, the man is initiating openness, contact with his wife. How about Proverbs 31:11? Let's go back there for a moment. Proverbs 31:11. Right there we have this amazing phrase. Now, ladies, let me just ask before we read this. How many of you are uncomfortable with Proverbs 31? Anybody? Well, that's wonderful, because, again, quite often when I bring up Proverbs 31, a lot of ladies are like, "But this talks about all that she does. She rises up early, she considers a field, buys it, she spins, she puts away food, she does all these things." Makes her sound like she's Superwoman. Trust me, she's not. This is simply just kind of a, it's just kind of it's one of those areas in Scripture where we are kind of given the idea without saying this is exactly. Proverbs does that quite often, but the idea is that, again, ladies, one thing I have found, I do not want my wife's job. I could not do my wife's job. She is so multi-talented, and not just, I could say that, I'm sure, for each and every one of you ladies out here. And so this talks about the things that a woman does. But look at verse 11. There it says, "The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain." That is why we need to be open with our wives, to trust in them, to be willing to open up our hearts to them. I know sometimes, guys, we hide because we're afraid we're going to feel dishonored if we talk about, "Sweetheart, this is not going well over here," or "I need to talk about this," or I have a concern or I'm worried about something. Your wife doesn't want you to hide those things from her. She wants you to bring them to her and be open with her about it. Let's take it to the practical. Your wife feels that you are open to her when you share your feelings, telling about your day and difficulty. Remember, guys, we're only allotted so many words a day, but make use of them. Don't let any of them unsaid. Your wife feels you are open to her when you say, "Let's talk," and ask her how she's feeling and ask for her opinions. My wife reminds me all the time that I need to use good eye contact, especially when you speak with her. Relax your body language and use good eye contact. Let her know that you want to speak with her. Your wife feels that you're open to her when you take her for a walk and you reminisce about things like how you met, or perhaps about your children and how you're doing parenting them together. Your wife feels you're open to her when you pray with her. Simple things. When you give her your full attention, not doing this, watching the TV. That's not openness. And again, guilty. So often guilty of that. Or not just the TV or the newspaper or the computer, but giving her your full attention. And then also when you're the one to initiate discussion about things like financial concerns or ideas for your future together. Don't wait for her to bring it up. You bring it up. So again, that's openness. Let's talk tonight about the U. C-O-U-P-L-E. Understanding. Now, we've already covered this in some detail, but I'm going to repeat a little bit of it. Guys, we're fixers. We want to have a solution. We want to understand the problem. We want to correct things that are wrong. But again, our wife does not need us to fix her, but just to listen. Again, I'm going to take us back to 1 Peter 3:7. We'll find we go there quite a bit tonight. But in 1 Peter 3:7, we find these words. Husbands, likewise, dwell with your wives. Dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel. We need to focus on that word understanding. There's times when I need to ask my wife, when she wants to tell me about some problem or difficulty, I need to say, do you need a solution or just my ear? And if she says, just your ear, then I know I don't need to try to fix anything. If we go to James chapter 1 and verse 19, I know I'm throwing a lot of scripture at you, but I just want you to see what the Bible has to say about these things. James 1 and verse 19. There it reads, so then, my beloved brethren, let every man, interesting it uses the word man here, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. I believe that's a verse that we can definitely apply to marriage. How about 1 Samuel 1:8? I'm not going to turn there, but do you remember Samuel's parents, Hannah and Elkanah? And Hannah was brokenhearted because she wanted a child and she didn't have one. And her husband also had another wife, a practice which was not uncommon in those days. And yet she had children and she knew it. And she reminded Hannah that she had them and Hannah didn't on every occasion. And she was brokenhearted inside. And do you remember Elkanah, bless his heart, he tried to fix things. Remember he said, Hannah, why are you so sad? Why are you so troubled in your heart? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? In other words, he tried to tell her why she shouldn't feel the way she felt. And what did she do? She went away to the house of the Lord and there just wept before the Lord. And that's when the priest Eli thought she was drunk because she was saying words but no sound was coming out because of her just brokenness in spirit. And again, what did Elkanah need to do? He needed to just hold his wife and be there as a source of comfort simply by his presence. So again, that's understanding. But let's take it now to the practical. What are some ways we can do this? Well, your wife feels that you can understand her when you listen and can actually repeat back to her what she just said. Again, guilty, but when we listen and feel that we can actually repeat back. When we don't try to fix her problems unless she specifically asks us to. When we try to identify her feelings. Gee, I think that makes you really sad, or really angry, or really worried. You never dismiss her feelings, no matter how illogical they may seem to you. When you say, thank you for sharing with me, I appreciate it. When you don't interrupt her when she's trying to tell you how she feels. When you need to apologize. And actually to admit that you were wrong. You know,